Holy cow, I'm putting the boat out on this one. So, your DPS and your crit is a lie, and pretty much every content creator is lying to you. Yeah, I'm going for it. Screw it. The gloves are off. Right. Getting my epic gamer chair. Right. Sorry for all that noise. Just getting into my epic gamer chair. Right. Your DPS is a lie for two reasons. That doesn't actually track your damage. It tracks your average damage across a certain period of time. What's actually important with this is your time to kill, which is in essence your real DPS. Your time to kill is how much enemy health there is, and then the speed in which your damage rate or DPS climb can extinguish that health bar. Your DPS is the sort of your average across the board. They are seemingly very similar things, but they're actually very, very different things. And then your crit damage is a slight magnitude above that. However, once you get to a certain point, you don't get it anymore. Easiest way to explain this, although it's going to be very bad, 0 to 183.6 critical hit damage. You get every point of it. So if you're doing 100 damage and you have a critical hit chance of 10, on that crit you'll do 110, up to bloody blah 183.6, which would obviously be 283.6 damage that you would do. Obviously the game doesn't actually calculate 0.6. I don't know why it's 0.6. This is just the nearest figure I could figure it out at. Beyond that, so past 183.6, to go up 1%, you need N plus 1, which basically means you need 2 crit damage just to go up 1% of real crit damage. The actual number is closer to like 2.46. Again, I don't know why. And then past 200%, in order to go up 1% of crit damage, you actually need another 3. Again, this is like 3.28, I believe, that you need to go up 1. So if you're seeing people being like, oh, check out me and my 211% critical hit damage, it's probably actually closer to like 190 due to the amount that they need to go up in order to do that. It's weird, it's wacky, I don't quite understand it, but this is what's called diminishing returns. This is how games balance themselves once they get to a point of doing just absolutely too much damage. There are ways around this, such as giving each other buffs. Once you're at that sort of point, it's better to stack base damage or multipliers. For some odd reason, base damage and multipliers do not seem to have a max cap, but then there's obviously a lot less options for base damage and multipliers. If there was a way in which you could just put a crap ton of base damage and multipliers on, the game doesn't seem to do anything to sort of slow you down or hinder it. It's only with the crit, simply because we can get stupid amounts of crit along with varying different buffs. And where's the fact that for some odd reason, despite the fact that the game lets us get to a staggering 302 critical hit damage, which I believe is the maximum possible you could get there with 4 improvised, Grupo, Coyotes, and then running Dark Winter. That would net us, as long as we're able to keep the buff and everything else active, 302 critical hit damage. But the damage of it is staggeringly low. It will net you barely 8 million damage a magazine. Like, it's actually pretty damn horrible and pointless. Overall though, the idea behind this is to show two things. One, DPS versus TTK, which I have called upon my lovely assistant, Build Calculator. We have a FAMAS and an AKM. AKM considered to be one of the more iffy ARs just because of the inaccuracies, blah 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 blah. But we all know it does a lot of damage versus fire rate, where FAMAS is fire rate versus damage. Going with a standard setup, Coyotes, 3-piece Providence using Gift and Sacrifice, Screwbow Gloves, and Fox's Prayer. Woohoo! Now, the build calculator on this doesn't take into effect talents, but we can see here that we are at 6% crit chance with 188% critical hit damage. We're doing some pretty hefty damage on both weapons. However, on just outright damage, the AKM is doing about 5 million more, or 5 to 6 million more. However, on the DPS climb, due to that little yellow line that keeps poking out, as well as the fact that we all know FAMAS has the higher DPS rate than the AKM. But if we look at the time to kill, just going to quickly delete that actually, kind of giving the game away. At base, with 0 crits and 0 headshots, we can see here that the AKM will actually kill something quicker by 1 second. It's 1 second quicker, despite the fact that the FAMAS has a faster DPS rate, which is interesting. Again, if any of these numbers seem weird, it's because Perfect Glass Cannon, as well as Optimist and Vigilance, are not put into the equation. You have to do that yourself manually. The moment we add crit chance though, you might notice that FAMAS will outperform that lovely AKM, just simply because, you know, crits, fire rate, as well as multipliers. But the moment we had headshots, just assuming that at least half of our headshots hit while we are firing, the difference in the time to kill of the AKM versus the FAMAS is absolutely ridiculous. Like the AKM, although the FAMAS has more DPS, a lot more DPS to be perfectly honest, the AKM will have a higher time to kill because of multipliers. Ta-da! Where this actually shows very clearly, obviously the gap between them is only about 6 mil, but the moment we do that, the gap increases to about 9 mil. Like, the gap is huge, simply just because of the way in which multipliers work with the higher damage weapons. So fire rate, DPS, isn't particularly all that. For me personally, I argue that accuracy and stability are better, which is one of the reasons why I don't particularly like the FAMAS or the AKM, although I will actually use the AKM over the FAMAS just because it does have a better time to kill with the correct builds. Now, this is a build that is circulating lately. It's crit damage galore. It's absolutely disgusting. It's completely wrong. Everything that is wrong with the Division 2 YouTube scene is shown off in this build. This person is originally using Chill Out, but Chill Out is not in this build calculator, so I've had to add in headshot damage rather than another 12% crit damage. So it is a little bit below on the crit damage, but it's not going to make any difference because of the point we made earlier. We are rocking way too much crit damage. And as we can see, DPS, blah 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 blah. Time to kill is pretty damn low as well. Overall though, you might notice only about 14 million, just over 14 million on the magazine, which is pretty damn low for a vector build. It's pretty damn terrible for a vector build. And without doing too much altering, literally just adding Fox's Prayer and changing the crit damage on the weapon to damage to targets out of cover, we've given it near enough another 1.2 million in damage. Like, that's just, this is why crit, or crit damage specifically, as well as your DPS rates, are a lie. I see too many people putting builds up like this that clearly have no idea what they're doing, and it's just absolutely astonishing. Admittedly, the time to kill doesn't change by too much, by like 0.3 seconds, which isn't a great deal of amount. But if you're going to post a build up saying, oh yeah, check out this awesome build, it's amazing, it's meta, it's god tier, it's whatever, you need this build. No, I don't, sweetheart, because you have no idea how to build in the first place. And it's kind of I keep saying it. It's destroying my soul. It really is. Anyway. Like, literally putting Coyote's mask and Contractor's gloves in, along with Fox's prayer, and swapping the weapon third attribute to damage to targets out of cover, just netted so much more damage. It was unreal. And yeah, this person's one of the more popular Division 2 YouTubers, and they post trash. Anyway, DPS versus time to kill. You can practice this because you've got a time to kill range down at the White House as well as a DPS one. You kind of want to get like a weird balance between the two. I'm not saying DPS or critical hit damage is redundant, don't worry about it. My point is, don't focus on crit damage, don't focus on DPS. There are better and more efficient and effective ways to build. You do need high DPS, but with that, you need a low time to kill. High DPS doesn't always correlate to a low time to kill. You need to look into the multipliers as well as how high your crit damage is as well, because it might not be as effective or efficient use of your mods or your gear as possible. Sometimes it is more worthwhile to stack a little bit more base damage than it is to do the crit chance. For this, I am a firm believer in Walker Harris. It might only be 5% weapon damage, but if you're already nearing that 183% cap, I'd say literally try and get to about 160, 170 personally, just to give you room to maneuver if someone's running Coyotes. Running a bit of Walker Harris for that extra 5% base damage will net you so much more. It's generally unreal. Or go for something like, if you're running a shotgun, Badger Tough, get some shotgun damage in there. If you're running an AR, get some Fenris, some AR damage, etc, etc. You get the point. Like, going full out crit, look at me and my high DPS, probably means you're not going to be doing much in game. Anyway, that just about wraps it up for this video. Have fun, good luck, don't die. It's bad for the health.